Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and today I'm joined by Keith Hebert right here in the studio. We are coming to you from the RREA.com studio over in Spring, Texas today, and we have been talking a lot about buyer representation. And the end of last segment, we were talking about ways to strengthen your offer. If you're a buyer and you're trying to purchase a property, and it is a big letdown when you've got your heart set on a house and you don't get it because somebody else got it. And that is a big letdown for buyers, and it can be very frustrating. So we were talking about some ways to strengthen the offer. Obviously, you've got to make sure your financing and all is in order. And there are some loans that are stronger than others. So we've got CHI Mortgage coming on next segment to talk about some different loan products. You can put down more money down. That actually does help sometimes to put more money down. And putting down more earnest money sometimes is helpful. And let's talk about the option period, because a lot of people don't know what the option period is. Keith, tell us what the option period is.
Well, your option period is it's 10 days, or it's negotiable. It basically gives the buyer a chance to do their due diligence on the home, and look at basically, is the home what they believe it is, do their inspections, possibly do an appraisal if there's a question. But it gives you 10 days to do all your due diligence and decide really, do you want this home or not? It gives you a chance to say, I want it or not. You pay money for the option period. So you're actually paying the seller to take their home off the market for you during that time period. And if the buyer backs out and they decide not to buy it, the seller keeps that money. So let's say you're a buyer, you put up $200, the seller takes their home off the market for 2 weeks while you do some inspections and really check everything else, the HVAC system, and get everything looked at. And then you come back and you say, I don't want it. The seller keeps that $200. That was what you paid the seller to take the property off the market. Right. And but if the buyer buys the property and closes, then generally they get that money credited back to them at closing. Not always. It's negotiable, but usually they do. So the option period, that money you're paying for that option period, that can actually be a negotiating point. If you're willing to pay them more money per day to keep that house off the market, it might be better than someone else who's just, especially in a market where you've got buyers putting in multiple offers and then taking the one that's the best and backing out of the others. You may want to go for higher option money. Right, or a reduction in the number of days, the option days. If you can reduce your option days from traditionally it's 7 to 10 days, if you can do a 3-day option period, then that says to the seller, well, they want this home. They want to get in here and get out of it. They're not going to give me a big hassle because all they're looking, 3-day option period, they're in and they're out. That's strong. And I don't know about you, Keith, but I like to talk to the selling agent and see what's going on. If it's a buyer, I want to talk to the buyer's agent and see what's going on, because sometimes the seller may need more time in the house, and that can be negotiable when you're going to close, or maybe doing a lease after they purchase the home. So that's important. And, I'm sure you think of it this way too, but every conversation you have with that other agent is you're negotiating. Exactly. And, when you're on the seller side, and you ask the seller, what happens if it doesn't close on time or it doesn't close? How would that financially affect you if you're out of your house and the moving truck is gone? Yeah. Can you handle that? Or would it really put you into a bad spot? So financially, you might need a 7-day or 15-day or 30-day lease back in order to financially look out for the worst case scenario. You can get creative too. Not everybody has the option of creativity, but if someone owns their home outright, don't have a loan on it, then you can get kind of creative. So for example, maybe you don't put in the strongest offer. You don't want to, or maybe you can't even afford to go that extra $10,000. But maybe the seller will finance the house for you. Right. They'll earn enough in interest to make up for that $10,000, and it's worth it to them. Yeah, that'd be a seller second. Yep. So there's some creative ways to make a stronger offer or make a deal work that may not have worked otherwise. Right. Well, there's a story of I heard recently where the buyer loved the house, wanted to make a full price offer, but he also wanted something else. He wanted the family pet. And the seller's husband said, or the wife said, "Well, wait a minute," and the husband said, "Oh, wait a minute. Let's see the offer." Well, anyway, he got the pet.
Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't seen that one. I have seen them though, where the boat stays with the house, or something. The seller wants to sell their furnishings with the house.
Right.
And what I've found is most of the time the buyers don't want those furnishings. However, I did have one time I was showing a buyer a house, and they walked in and they said, "I want everything to stay the same. I love everything about the house." And so we literally, even though I advised against it, we literally made the offer and offered to buy the furniture and everything in the house. So it happens both directions,
That just happened to me. I have a buyer just came from Louisiana, walked into a house, said, "I want everything. I don't want them to move anything. I just want to move into this house."
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
That's true. Well, it really helps if it's a builder who's getting out of the neighborhood and they want to leave all the furniture and they don't have to sell it. So that works well with the homes that are the model homes that are moving homes.
Seller contributions are something that sometimes buyers need that to be able to purchase the home. And what we used to see is the seller contributions would take away from the sales price. But a lot of times in a strong market, people overpay for the house, but take it back in seller concessions,
right?
And that's acceptable to do.
It is
so when you see homes sell overpriced, sometimes that's what they're doing,
right? It does tend to make your offer a little weaker because the seller's thinking, well, I've got to contribute to their closing costs, and now I have to look at will my home appraise?
Yeah.
So it can happen, and people are doing it, and there's some reasons why it's good to do that. But generally, if you're looking at that from a buyer's side, that may weaken your offer a little bit.
Let's talk about for sellers what they need to be thinking about this spring when they put their home on the market, because I think that there's some safety concerns, for some people when they put their home on the market. They don't think about the safety factor, the fact that your house, all the pictures of your house are now on the MLS. Anybody can see what your furnishings are. They can see what you have, and they can see your floor plan just from looking at it online, especially with all the videos we have now. So I think there's a safety factor with putting your house on the market. And I always tell my sellers, take down your names of your children off the walls. It looks really cute above the crib, but take it down. Take down your personal photos, and just really be more on alert for security, and make sure that you put away things that could be easily stolen.
Right. Well, one of the things I think you'd want to make sure is that if you're living in the home, you want a super box on the lock. And that means it's a computerized box. Lock box that you can, that will only allow realtors in certain hours, so you can block out anybody from coming in your home. And we know who comes and goes out of your home.
Yeah,
everybody does. It's trackable.
I love it.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
Now, you also need to make sure that you remove things that are very valuable to you, and you hide them. You also remove prescription drugs.
Yeah.
You want to remove any weapons, things like that. Cash. You want to put that away because a realtor can't be everywhere in the house that the buyer's going to be.
Right.
Family comes in there, husband, wife, 3 kids, and everyone's everywhere.
That's right.
And you just can't watch everybody.
Even 3 or 4 adults, you know, you have parents and grandparents, and they're all moving in different directions. You can't be with all of them. I always tell my sellers, buyers look in the doors, in the closets, not in the drawers.
Right.
But it's important that you just make sure that your home is secure. You need a safe to put everything in. Your jewelry, your collectible items, things that are of value, and your mail. Don't leave your mail out on the counter, and don't leave your taxes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Put away your taxes. You don't want that buyer knowing anything about your finances,
because anything that they see can be used against you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And there was a recent incident that was reported on Fox and Friends where a realtor got caught stealing out of someone's home.
Yeah, that does happen. Rarely we do have strict standards, but when we continue to raise the bar. But, you just have to be aware that people are going in your home, and you've got to make it ready for strangers coming in your home.
Another thing with sellers is you have to know the house that you're selling, and the seller needs to understand how quickly or how soon or how long it's going to take to sell the house, so that they can be prepared how long it's going to take for them to move out. I know, townhomes usually take longer to sell, although not always, than like a single family home. Also, rural properties take longer to sell, especially at a higher price point. point. I know you've got one that's tricky right now on the lake.
Right. I have a property that's on the east side of the lake. The Sunset Home.
On Lake
I call
Houston.
it on Lake Houston. No, it's over in Huffman.
Sunset Home, I love that.
And it's an awesome property, but it needs some work, and it's at a higher price point, and it's just going to take the right buyer, somebody looking for sunset property.
Yeah. I love that, the Sunset property. You just call REA and just ask about that Sunset property, y'all, because it's a really nice property. There are so many great properties out there on the market, and there's going to be a lot more as we get farther into spring. That's why it's a great time to put your house on the market now before the flood of homes comes on the market. Right,
that flood, right now, the absorption rate and the days on the market is a little less than you're going to see in the spring. A lot more homes coming in the spring, a lot more buyers. But then there'd be a lot more competition. So right now is a great time to get your best price and have less competition. For instance, the home I just put on, Beltway 8 and Wilson Road, there's only one other home on the market similar to it, and it's just went under option pending. So now I'm the only one on the market.
Oh, and that's a good thing we need to talk about. People call and they ask, what does pending mean? Pending means it's under contract.
Right. Option pending means you're in the first 10 days.
Or whatever was negotiated.
Yeah, whatever negotiating, your option period. And then you go into pending. Pending means you've gone through that period. Now that mysterious place where title work and loan work is being done. It's kind of like a little desert for buyers and sellers is happening. And then you go into a pending sale, and that means this home is closing.
Yep. All right, we'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio.
RREA Media has an exciting new product available to companies and organizations who are teaching classes and want to offer those classes online. Introducing Easy Distance Learning. Easy Distance Learning is a video-based distance learning system that allows companies and organizations to leverage their existing classroom content into a broader reach and increased revenues. Did you know that the rate of growth of distance learning is 10 times that of classroom education? And 66% of chief academic officers think distance learning is critical to their long-term strategy. Right now, 33% of higher education students are taking at least one online class. Companies and organizations not offering a distance alternative to in-class instruction risk being left behind. Video-based distance learning has three basic components: classroom capture, post-production, and content distribution. Easy Distance Learning is a comprehensive and modular system that covers all three components that can help your organization with what you are missing in offering a quality and convenient online learning experience. You choose the parts you need help with. Easy Distance Learning offers another revenue stream, a broader reach of your existing content, and a professional presentation with a great learner experience. Contact us today for a free estimate and see how Easy Distance Learning can take your company or organization to the next level.